Jack Morgan adjusted his uniform one last time before stepping onto the transport shuttle. He was nervous, but he didn't show it. As a lieutenant and diplomatic officer on the human ship Horizon, today was the most important day of his career. Humans were about to meet the Vrelkan Empire for the first time in an official setting. "Ready for the big show?" asked Captain Lisa Ridd as she sat next to him. Jack nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." The shuttle hummed as it left the horizon and moved toward the massive Vrelkan flagship. Jack looked out the window at the alien ship. It was 3 times larger than any human vessel, with sharp angles and glowing purple lights along its hull. "Remember," Lisa said quietly, "we're here to make peace. The border conflicts have already cost too many lives." Jack knew she was right. In the past 6 months, 3 human ships had been destroyed in what the Vrelkans called territorial misunderstandings. The humans needed this treaty to work. When their shuttle docked, Jack took a deep breath and followed Lisa and the rest of the team into the Vrelkan ship. The air inside was warmer and had a sweet smell Jack couldn't place. 4 tall Vrelkan guards met them at the entrance. The aliens had gray skin, 4 eyes, and stood nearly 7 feet tall. "Welcome to the glory of Vrelka," said one guard in perfect English. "Supreme Commander Zorax awaits you in the Great Hall." As they walked through the ship, Jack noted everything. The hallways were wide and lined with images of what appeared to be battles. The Vrelkans they passed looked at the humans with what Jack could only describe as controlled disgust. The Great Hall was enormous, with a high ceiling covered in glowing crystals. Dozens of Vrelkan officials stood in neat rows, all wearing similar military-style uniforms with different colored markings to show their rank. Supreme Commander Zorax was easy to spot. He was taller than the others, with elaborate armor and a scar across 2 of his 4 eyes. "Humans," Zorax said, his voice echoing in the hall. "We welcome you to discuss terms of coexistence." The formal greetings began, with Captain Lisa speaking for the human delegation. Jack stood attentively, but his focus was suddenly pulled away when a side door opened. 2 Vrelkan guards entered, leading someone between them. It wasn't a Vrelkan. This being was smaller, with blue skin that seemed to glow faintly. It was a woman, Jack realized, though clearly not human. Her wrists and ankles were bound with ornate chains that glowed with the same purple energy as the ship's lights. Her head was held high despite her situation. Jack leaned slightly toward Derek, another diplomatic officer who had studied the region's species. "Who is that?" Jack whispered. Derek glanced over and frowned. "I think she's a Lyrian. The Vrelkans invaded their system about a year ago. Didn't think any were left." The blue-skinned woman was led along the edge of the room. As she passed near the human delegation, her eyes, large and silver like liquid mercury, met Jack's. There was no fear in those eyes, only a burning defiance. That struck him to his core. After the woman was taken through another door, Jack tried to focus on the diplomatic talks. The Vrelkans offered a treaty that would establish clear borders between their territories. The terms seemed reasonable on the surface, but Jack noticed several clauses that would give the Vrelkans advantages. During a break in the talks, Jack found himself near a group of Vrelkan officers who didn't realize he could hear them. "The execution tomorrow will be magnificent," one said. "The last royal Lyrian put to death as Supreme Commander Zorax finalizes peace with the humans." "Fitting end to the conquest," another replied. "The timing is perfect for the victory celebration." Jack felt cold. They were going to execute the blue-skinned woman as part of a celebration. He moved away before they noticed him listening. Later, at the formal dinner, Jack watched as Supreme Commander Zorax raised a glass. "Tomorrow we celebrate the complete victory over the Lyrian rebellion," Zorax announced. "With the execution of their last royal family member, our conquest will be complete. And with our new human friends, we begin a new era of expansion." The Vrelkans cheered. The human delegation clapped politely, but Jack could see Captain Lisa's tight smile. She didn't like this any more than he did, but diplomacy required them. To show respect for Vrelkan customs, after dinner, Jack returned to the human quarters provided on the Vrelkan ship. He couldn't stop thinking about the woman in chains. He pulled up information about the Lyrians on his datapad. They were a peaceful species known for their advanced arts and sciences. Their natural bioluminescence was unique in the galaxy. Now they were nearly extinct. Jack couldn't sleep. Around midnight, he left his room and found his way to the ship's engineering section where his friend, Susan Miller, was checking the Vrelkan power systems as part of the cultural exchange. "I need your help," Jack said when he found her alone. Susan looked up from her work. "With what?" "I need to find where they're keeping a prisoner." Susan's eyes widened. "You mean the Lyrian woman?" "Jack, that's crazy. We're here on a peace mission. They're going to kill her tomorrow as part of their victory celebration." Susan put down her tools. "And what exactly do you plan to do if you find her?" Jack hadn't thought that far ahead. "I don't know. But I can't just let them execute her for show." Susan sighed. "The holding cells are 2 levels down. I saw them on the ship's schematics. But Jack, if you interfere with their customs, you could ruin the peace talks. If peace means standing by while they murder the last survivor of a species they wiped out, maybe we should rethink what we're making peace with." Jack replied. Susan looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. "I can get you access to that level, but be careful." Using Susan's security bypass, Jack made his way to the holding cells. Most were empty. At the end of the corridor, he found her. The blue-skinned woman sat cross-legged on the floor of her cell, eyes closed as if meditating. The chains on her wrists and ankles glowed softly when Jack approached the energy field that served as a door. Her eyes opened. Those silver eyes studied him with interest. "You're human," she said in perfect English. Her voice was musical with an accent Jack couldn't place. Double quotes. "Yes, my name is Jack Morgan." "Why are you here, Jack Morgan?" Jack swallowed hard. "I heard what they plan to do to you tomorrow. And you came to watch?" Her voice was bitter. "No, I came to ... Jack paused. What had he come to do? "I came because it's wrong." The woman stood up and approached the energy field. Up close, Jack could see patterns of light moving under her blue skin like stars in a night sky. "I am Ilara, last daughter of the Lyrian royal house," she said, "and tomorrow I die with dignity." "What? If you didn't have to die at all?" Jack asked quietly. Ilara tilted her head, studying him with those unnerving silver eyes. "What are you suggesting, human?" Before Jack could answer, an alarm began to sound. Someone had discovered he was missing from his quarters. "I'll come back," Jack promised. For the first time, Ilara's expression softened slightly. Perhaps humans are different after all. As Jack hurried away, he knew he had crossed a line. By morning, he would either be back in his diplomatic role, pretending this visit never happened, or he would do something that might change both their worlds forever. Jack returned to his quarters just in time. 2 Vrelkan guards stood outside his door. "Lieutenant Morgan," one said, "your presence has been requested by Captain Lisa." Jack nodded and followed them. His heart was racing, but he kept his face calm. Did they know he had visited the prisoner? Captain Lisa was waiting in the meeting room with the rest of the human team. Her expression was serious. "The execution of the Lyrian prisoner has been moved up," she said. "It will happen in 3 hours, not tomorrow as planned. Supreme Commander Zorax has invited us to attend as honored guests." The other humans looked uncomfortable. "No one wanted to watch an execution. Do we have to attend?" asked Derek. "It would be a diplomatic insult to refuse," Lisa answered. The Vrelkans see this as an important cultural ceremony. "It's murder," Jack said before he could stop himself. Everyone turned to look at him. Lisa's eyes narrowed. "Lieutenant Morgan, I need to speak with you privately," she said. When the others had left, Lisa faced him. "What's going on, Jack? You've been acting strange since we arrived." Jack hesitated, then decided to tell the truth. "The prisoner Ilara is the last of the Lyrian royal family. The Vrelkans destroyed her people. Now they're going to kill her. As entertainment while we sign peace papers?" Lisa sighed. "I don't like it either. But we're here to prevent a war that could cost millions of lives. What kind of peace are we making if we stand by and watch this?" Jack asked. Lisa studied him for a long moment. "Whatever you're thinking, don't do it. That's an order, Lieutenant. Jack returned to his quarters, but his mind was made up. He contacted Susan on his communication device. The execution has been moved up. It's happening in 3 hours, he told her. Jack, you can't interfere, Susan warned. You'll start a war. I need your help, Jack said. Can you create a distraction in the power systems? There was a long pause. This could end our careers, Susan finally said. I know. Another pause. I'll help you, but only because I can't stand the thought of that execution either. Jack moved quickly. He took his small emergency kit and his personal shuttle's activation codes. The shuttle was docked with the rest of the human vessels. Ready for emergency evacuation. At the agreed time, Jack made his way toward the holding cells. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out. Emergency lights came on, casting everything in a dim red glow. Alarms began to sound. Power surge in Section 14, announced a voice over the ship's communication system. Jack knew Susan had done her part. The Vrelkin guards were rushing toward the engineering section, leaving the path to the holding cells. Clear, when Jack reached Alara's cell, she was standing near the energy field, her skin glowing brighter in the dim light. You came back? She said, sounding surprised. They moved up your execution. We don't have much time. Jack used Susan's bypass device to deactivate the energy field. Alara stepped back. Why are you doing this? Because it's wrong to kill someone for being the last of their kind, Jack said. Will you come with me? Alara looked at the open doorway, then at Jack. If I escape, the Vrelkins will blame all humans. I'll take full responsibility, Jack promised. Alara nodded and stepped through the doorway. Jack used a small tool from his kit to release her chains. They fell to the floor with a clang. We need to get to the shuttle bay, Jack said. They moved through the dimly lit corridors. Jack led the way, checking each turn for guards. Alara moved silently behind him, her natural glow now dimmed somehow under her control. They were halfway to the shuttle bay when they heard voices ahead. Jack pulled Alara into a small maintenance corridor. We'll have to go around, he whispered as they turned to find another route. They came face to face with 3 Vrelkin guards. Prisoner escape, one shouted, reaching for his weapon. Jack moved first, knocking the weapon aside and pushing the guard back. Alara was surprisingly quick. She ducked under the second guard's arm and hit him with her elbow in exactly the right spot. The guard dropped to his knees. The third guard fired his weapon. A pulse of energy hit the wall near Jack's head. Alara's skin suddenly flashed brightly, temporarily blinding the guard. Jack took advantage of the distraction to knock the weapon from his hand. Run, Jack shouted. They raced through the corridors, alarms blaring all around them now. More guards. We're coming. They would be caught soon. This way, Jack said, pulling Alara into a small room. Inside was an emergency teleporter pad used for evacuations. This leads to my shuttle, Jack explained. But it's not meant for regular use. It's experimental. Will it work? Alara asked, glancing nervously at the door. Probably, Jack said. But it's risky. They could hear guards approaching outside. There was no time left. Trust me? Jack asked, extending his hand. Alara took it without hesitation. Her hand was warm, and Jack felt a slight tingling where their skin touched. I trust you, she said. Jack activated the teleporter. The world around them dissolved into light. Jack felt like he was being pulled apart and put back together. There was pain, sharp and intense. Then darkness. When he opened his eyes, he was lying on the floor of his shuttle. Alara was kneeling beside him, her face worried. Jack, are you all right? Jack tried to sit up, but pain shot through his body. He looked down and saw blood soaking his uniform. Teleporter malfunction, he managed to say. Not meant for 2 people. Alara looked around the shuttle. How do I fly this? Auto ... pilot, Jack said, his vision starting to blur. Coordinates ... already set. He reached for the control panel, fighting to stay conscious. His fingers found the launch sequence. The shuttle hummed to life. Get us away from the Vrelkin. Ship, Jack told Alara. The autopilot will do the rest. Alara quickly examined the controls, her fingers moving with surprising confidence. My people were navigators before the Vrelkins came, she explained, seeing Jack's surprise. I can fly. Jack felt himself slipping into unconsciousness. The last thing he saw was Alara's face. Her silver eyes focused on the controls as the shuttle broke away from the Vrelkin. Flagship, alarms blared as the Vrelkin ship detected their unauthorized departure. But Alara was already putting distance between them and their pursuers. Hold on, Jack, she said, her voice seeming to come from far away. You saved me. Now I'll save you. As darkness claimed him, Jack felt her hand on his chest, a warm, tingling sensation spreading from her touch. Then he felt nothing at all. Pain was the first thing Jack felt when he opened his eyes. Then came confusion. He was lying on his back, looking up at the ceiling of his shuttle. How long had he been unconscious? He tried to sit up, but a gentle hand pressed him back down. Don't move yet, Alara said. Your body needs more time to heal. Jack turned his head to see her sitting beside him. Her blue skin was glowing softly, especially around her hands. What happened? Jack asked, his voice rough. The teleporter damaged your internal organs, Alara explained. You were bleeding inside. I've been helping you heal. Jack looked down at his chest. His uniform shirt had been removed, and there was a faint blue glow on his skin where Alara's hands had touched him. How did you do that? My people can share our energy to heal, she said. It's not magic, just biology. The same way we can dim or brighten our light. Jack remembered the way she had flashed brightly to blind the guard during their escape. Thank you, he said. For saving my life, Alara smiled for the first time since he'd met her. It transformed her face, making her seem younger. You saved mine first, she replied. Jack managed to sit up slowly. Looking around, he saw they were still in his shuttle, but the view screen showed unfamiliar stars. Where are we? In an asteroid field about 2 hours from the Vrelkin ship, Alara said. I hid us here after they started searching for us. You know how to pilot a human shuttle. Jack was impressed. Not exactly, but space navigation follows similar principles across most species. Your computer helped with the details? Jack checked the shuttle systems. The autopilot had been disabled, and Alara had been flying manually. Good thinking hiding in the asteroids, he said. Their sensors will have trouble finding us here. The Vrelkins are still searching, Alara warned. I've picked up their communications. Your Captain Lisa is helping them. And Jack wasn't surprised. Lisa had to protect the peace talks and the rest of the human delegation. They're saying you kidnapped. Alara continued. That you're a human extremist who wants to start a war. What do they want in return for peace? Us, Alara said simply. Both of us, Jack checked their supplies. The emergency shuttle had food and water for one person for about 2 weeks. With 2 of them, it would last 1 week. The fuel cells were at 62%, enough to reach human territory if they weren't pursued. We need to contact the Horizon, Jack said. I need to explain what really happened. Is there someone you trust? Alara asked. Jack thought about it. Maybe, Commander Alan Fletcher. He's my superior officer, but he's fair. He'll at least listen. Before turning us in, Jack sent a coded message to Commander Fletcher, careful to route it through several relay points to hide their location. Then they waited. Tell me about your people, Jack said as they shared a meal of emergency rations, Alara's. Eyes grew sad. The Lyrians were explorers and artists. Our home planet, Lyria, was beautiful all-blue oceans and floating islands. We developed technology that worked with our natural abilities. What happened with the Vrelkins? They came 3 years ago, claiming to want trade. Then they discovered what we could do. What do you mean? Alara held up her hand, making the blue light under her skin pulse. Lyrians can connect with certain types of technology. Enhance it, control it with our minds. The Vrelkins wanted this ability for their weapons. So they invaded, Jack guessed. Elara nodded. They destroyed our main cities from orbit. Those who survived were taken for experiments. My parents, the king and queen, were executed publicly. I was kept alive because ... her voice broke, because my abilities are stronger than most. They wanted to study me before killing me. Jack reached out without thinking and took her hand. I'm sorry. They sat in silence for a while, hands still joined. Jack felt the slight tingling sensation again where their skin touched. A signal from the communications system interrupted the moment. It was Commander Fletcher, Lieutenant. Morgan. Fletcher's face appeared on the screen. What in the world have you done? Sir, I can explain, Jack began. The Vrelkins are threatening war, Jack. They say you stole their property. She's not property, Jack said firmly. She's the last of the Lyrian royal family. They were going to execute her as entertainment. Fletcher's expression softened slightly. I understand your ethical concerns, but this isn't how we handle diplomatic issues. They've been experimenting on her people, sir, using them to enhance their weapons technology. Fletcher looked at Alara. Is this true? Yes, Alara said. The Vrelkins never intended peace with humans. They want to study us all, find our weaknesses. I need proof of these claims, Fletcher said. Otherwise, I have orders to bring you in, Jack, both of you. The communication ended. Jack slumped in his seat. He doesn't believe us, Alara said. He wants to, but he needs evidence. A warning. Light flashed on the control panel. The shuttle's sensors had detected a ship entering the asteroid field. Vrelkin scout, Jack said, checking the readings. They must have tracked our communication. Alara moved to the pilot's seat. I'll try to keep the asteroids between us and them. The shuttle moved deeper into the field. Ilara's hands worked the controls with growing confidence. Jack was amazed at how quickly she had learned to fly the shuttle. The Vrelkin scout was faster, but larger and less maneuverable. Ilara used this to their advantage, taking the shuttle through narrow gaps between asteroids where the scout couldn't follow. There's a mining outpost on the far side of this field, Jack said, checking the star. Charts. Abandoned years ago, but it might still have supplies. And a better communication system. How far? About an hour at our current speed, Ilara nodded and adjusted their course. The Vrelkin scout was falling behind, unable to match their path. Through the asteroids, Jack watched Ilara as she piloted the shuttle. Her face was set in concentration, her skin glowing brightly in response to the stress. Despite everything, he found himself smiling. What? She asked, catching his look. Nothing. Just thinking that you're amazing. A slight purple tinge appeared on her blue cheeks. Jack realized she was blushing. For a human, you're not so bad yourself, she replied. They reached the mining outpost without further pursuit. It was built into a large asteroid with docking bays carved directly into the rock. Ilara guided the shuttle into one of these bays. The outpost was dark and cold, powered down years ago when the mining operation ended. Jack activated his emergency light and led the way inside. We should be able to restart the basic systems, he said. Enough for life support and communications. As they walked through the abandoned corridors, Ilara's natural glow provided additional light. Jack found the main power controls and managed to bring the emergency systems online. We're safe for now, he told Ilara, but we need to find a way to prove what the Vrelkins are doing. Ilara touched the outpost's computer terminal. Her skin glowed brighter where her fingers made contact. Maybe I can help with that, she said. If I can access their networks from here, I might be able to find the evidence we need. Jack watched as the terminal came to life under her touch, responding to her in ways it shouldn't be able to. Now he understood why the Vrelkins wanted her ability so badly. Commander Fletcher will help us if we can prove your claims, Jack said. And then we can find the other Lyrian survivors. Ilara looked at him, hope in her silver eyes for the first time. You would help my people? Yes, Jack said without hesitation. I would. Their eyes held for a long moment. Then, together, they turned to the task of finding the evidence that might save them both. For 3 days, Jack and Ilara worked in the abandoned mining outpost. Jack repaired the life support systems while Ilara used her abilities to search distant networks for information about the Vrelkins. They took turns sleeping, always keeping watch for any signs of pursuit. On the 4th day, Ilara made a breakthrough. Jack, look at this, she called from the computer terminal. Her fingers were glowing brightly where they touched the screen. Jack came to stand behind her. The screen showed Vrelkan military documents. "How did you get these?" he asked, amazed. "I found a way into their secure network," Alara explained. "These are their real plans for the treaty with humans." Jack read the documents, his face growing darker with each line. The peace treaty was a trick. The Vrelkans had no intention of respecting human territory. They were gathering information about human defenses while positioning their fleet for an eventual invasion. "We need to send this to Commander Fletcher right away," Jack said. Before they could, the outpost's alarm system activated. A ship was approaching. "Vrelkans?" Alara asked, her skin dimming with fear. Jack checked the sensor readings. "No, it's human." "Small vessel, probably a scout." They watched on the monitor as a small ship docked with the outpost. A single figure in a human environmental suit emerged. "I'm going to meet them," Jack decided. "Stay here and be ready to run if something goes wrong." Jack took his emergency pistol and moved to the docking area. He waited, hidden behind a support column, as the airlock opened. A woman stepped through, removing her helmet. Jack recognized her immediately, Dr. Nicole Bennett. He said, lowering his weapon. Nicole turned, startled. "Jack, thank goodness I found you." Nicole was a xenobiologist who had worked with Jack on previous missions. They had been friends for years. "How did you find us?" Jack asked, still cautious. "Commander Fletcher asked me to look for you," Nicole explained. "Unofficially?" "He's worried about what the Vrelkans might do if they find you first." "Can we trust her?" Alara asked, stepping out from where she had been watching. Nicole stared at Alara, her scientific curiosity obvious. "You're Lyrian. I've only seen pictures before." "This is Alara," Jack said, "the last of the Lyrian royal family." Nicole approached. Slowly, respectfully. "May I?" she asked, gesturing to Alara's glowing skin. Alara hesitated, then nodded. Nicole examined her arm, careful not to touch without permission. "The bioluminescence is remarkable," Nicole said. "Is it true your people can interface with technology?" "Yes," Alara said. "That's why the Vrelkans wanted us. They've been experimenting on my people, trying to use our abilities to enhance their weapons." Nicole's expression grew serious. "I believe you. There have been rumors about Vrelkan bioweapons using alien DNA. No one had proof, though." "We have proof now," Jack said. Alara found documents in their military network. "The peace treaty is just a cover while they prepare for invasion." Nicole nodded. "Fletcher suspected as much. That's why he sent me to find you instead of a military team." They showed Nicole the documents Alara had found. The doctor read them carefully. "This is worse than we thought," she said. "According to this, they've already placed spy devices on the human ships during the peace talks. We need to warn the horizon," Jack said. "There's something else you should know," Nicole told them. "The Vrelkans have been telling everyone you're a traitor." "Jack, they say you were working to sabotage the peace talks from the beginning." Jack wasn't surprised. "It's easier to blame one person than admit they were planning to trick us all along." "Fletcher is trying to buy time," Nicole said. "But the pressure to hand you over is growing. Some people just want to avoid war no matter the cost." They moved to Nicole's ship, which had better communication equipment. Jack prepared a message for Commander Fletcher. Attaching the documents Alara had found, while Jack worked, Nicole examined Alara more carefully with her permission. The doctor was fascinated by the Lyrian's abilities. "The way your cells interact with electrical systems is extraordinary," Nicole said. "It's not just conductivity, there's a true interface happening." "My family line had the strongest connection," Alara explained. "We could enhance ship engines, communication systems, even medical technology." "And weapons," Nicole added quietly. Alara looked down. "Yes, the Vrelkans wanted me to show them how to link their weapons directly to their soldiers' minds, to make killing more efficient." Jack finished the message and joined them. "The evidence is sent. Now we wait." Nicole looked troubled. "There's another problem. More Vrelkan ships have entered this sector. They're searching methodically." "It won't be long before they find this outpost." "Then we need to leave," Jack said. "Where can we go?" Ilara asked. The Vrelkins want me dead, and your people think Jack is a traitor. They sat in silence, considering their limited options. The situation seemed hopeless. I could turn myself in, Jack said finally. Say I forced you to help me, Nicole. And that I kidnapped Ilara. No, both women said at the same time. If you surrender, the Vrelkins will demand that Ilara be handed over too, Nicole pointed out. And they'll destroy the evidence. There must be another way, Ilara said that night. After Nicole had gone to rest in her ship, Jack and Ilara stood looking out a viewport at the stars. The asteroid field glittered around them, beautiful but dangerous. What will happen to your people if we can't prove what the Vrelkins did? Jack asked. There aren't many of us left, Ilara said quietly. Those who escaped the invasion are hiding. Across the galaxy, without a homeworld, without protection, we'll slowly disappear. I won't let that happen, Jack promised. Ilara turned to him. In the dim light, her skin glowed softly, casting a gentle blue light between them. Why do you care so much about my people? About me? She asked. You've risked everything. Jack thought about it. At first, it was just because what they were doing was wrong. But now, quote, now, Ilara prompted. Now it's because of you, Jack admitted. Who you are, your courage, your strength. Ilara stepped closer. In my culture, we believe that when two souls recognize each other, there's a light that passes between them. I didn't think it could happen with a human. What are you saying? Jack asked, his heart beating faster. I'm saying I feel that light with you, Ilara whispered. Jack reached out slowly and touched her face. The now familiar tingling sensation spread through his fingers. I feel it too, he said. Their faces drew closer. Jack hesitated, unsure if this was right. If it was even possible between their different species, Ilara made the decision for him. She leaned forward and pressed her lips to his. The kiss was warm, electric, like nothing Jack had ever experienced. Where their lips met, a soft glow emanated. When they finally pulled apart, Jack felt changed somehow. Connected to her in a way he couldn't explain. Whatever happens, he said, we face it together. A loud alarm suddenly blared throughout the outpost. Nicole rushed in, her face pale. Vrelkin warships, she announced. 3 of them. They've found us. The mining outpost shook as the Vrelkin ships moved into position around it. Jack, Ilara, and Nicole rushed to the control room to assess the situation. They've got us surrounded, Jack said, checking the sensors. 3 warships? No way our small vessels can outrun them. They're sending a message, Nicole reported. Activating the communication system, Supreme Commander Zorax's face appeared on the screen. His 4 eyes narrowed when he saw them. Lieutenant Morgan, Zorax said, you have stolen Vrelkin property and violated our treaty with humans. Return the Lyrian female immediately and your death will be quick. She's not property, Jack replied. And we know the truth about your fake treaty. Zorax's expression didn't change. You have 10 minutes to surrender before we destroy the outpost. The screen went dark. Jack turned to the others. Nicole, take your ship and get out of here. They might let you go if you're alone? Nicole shook her head. I'm not leaving you 2 to die. We need you to make sure Commander Fletcher gets our evidence, Jack insisted. If you escape, there's still hope for exposing the Vrelkin's true plans? Nicole looked torn, but finally nodded. What about you 2? I have an idea, Ilara said. Her skin was glowing brighter than Jack had ever seen, pulsing with energy. But I need access to the outpost's main communication array. Jack led her to the array controls. Ilara placed her hands on the panel, and the glow from her skin flowed into the system. The outpost lights flickered. What are you doing? Jack asked. Sending a message, Ilara explained. Not to the Vrelkins or humans, but to my people, your people? But I thought there are more survivors than the Vrelkins know, Ilara said. Hiding, scattered across the galaxy. I'm calling them. Using a frequency only Lyrians can detect. Nicole hurried to her ship while Jack and Ilara continued working. 7 minutes remained before the Vrelkins' deadline. Even if your people receive the message, they can't get here in time, Jack said. They don't need to, Ilara replied. Just need them to amplify this signal. Her hands moved across the controls, her entire body now glowing intensely. Jack had to shield his eyes. What signal? The evidence, Ilara said. I'm broadcasting everything we found about the Vrelkins. Plans to every ship, station, and planet in this sector. Human, Vrelkin, and others. Jack stared at her in amazement. Can you do that? With help from other Lyrians? Yes. Our abilities are stronger when connected. As the deadline approached, they received a new message not from the Vrelkins, but from Commander Fletcher on the horizon. Jack, we've received your evidence, Fletcher said. We're on our way with every ship we can gather. Hold on. They won't get here in time, Jack said after the message ended. Then we face the Vrelkins ourselves, Ilara decided. Jack nodded. Together. They moved to the outpost's docking bay as Nicole's ship departed, slipping between two of the Vrelkin vessels. The Vrelkins let her go, focused on their main targets. Jack activated the outpost's external communication system. This is Lieutenant Jack Morgan. We want to talk. A group of Vrelkin soldiers soon boarded the outpost. Jack and Ilara stood waiting for them, unarmed. We will come with you to speak with Supreme Commander Zorax, Jack told the soldiers. But only to talk. We are not surrendering. The soldiers surrounded them and led them to the largest Vrelkin ship. They were taken directly to the bridge where Zorax waited. Bold of you to face me, Zorax said. Foolish, but bold. We know what you've been planning, Jack said. The fake treaty, the experiments on Lyrians, the planned invasion of human space. And who will believe you? Zorax laughed. A human traitor and the last of a dead species? Everyone will believe us, Ilara said, because everyone already knows. She nodded toward the ship's communication officer, who turned to Zorax with alarm. Commander, we're receiving reports that classified documents have been transmitted across the sector, the officer reported. Our treaty plans, weapons research, everything. Zorax's face darkened with rage. How? My people are not as dead as you thought, Ilara said. And we've made sure your lies are exposed? A new alert sounded on the Vrelkin bridge. Multiple ships approaching, the sensor officer announced. Human vessels, dozens of them. The main screen showed the horizon leading a fleet of human ships. It's over, Zorax, Jack said. The truth is out. Zorax snarled and drew his weapon, pointing it at Ilara. Then she dies first, as she should have days ago. Jack moved without thinking, placing himself in front of Ilara. No, Zorax's finger tightened on the trigger. But before he could fire, the ship rocked violently. The lights flickered and died, then came back on with a blue glow. What's happening? Zorax demanded. Around the bridge, every screen and control panel was glowing with the same blue light that emanated from Ilara's skin. My people are here too, Ilara said. Her voice had changed, seeming to echo with many voices at once. Not just physically, but connected to your systems. The ship's weapons powered down, the engines stopped. Control was slipping away from the Vrelkins. This is Commander Fletcher of the human vessel Horizon, came a voice over the communication system. Surrender your ships immediately or we will open fire. Zorax looked from the fleet outside to Ilara and Jack, his face twisted with hatred. He raised his weapon again. If I die, I take you with me, he growled. Before he could fire, his own officers moved against him. The Vrelkin second-in-command stepped forward. Enough, Commander. You've led us into disaster with your lies. He turned to Jack and Ilara. We surrender. Within hours, the Vrelkin ships were under human control. Jack and Ilara stood on the bridge of the Horizon with Commander Fletcher. You took a hell of a risk, Lieutenant, Fletcher said to Jack. But you were right. The evidence you sent has changed everything. The full treaty negotiations will be restarted with new Vrelkin representatives. And the Lyrians? Jack asked. Will they be protected? Yes, Fletcher confirmed. The evidence of the experiments was ... disturbing. No one will allow that to continue. There are more survivors than we thought, Ilara said. When I sent out the call, many responded. They've been hiding, afraid to reveal themselves? They don't need to hide anymore, Fletcher said. We'll help them rebuild, find a new home if needed. Later, Jack and Ilara stood alone by a viewport, watching as more ships arrived, human vessels, and smaller ships carrying Lyrian refugees coming out of hiding. "What will you do now?" Jack asked Ilara. "My people need leadership," she said. "Someone to help them build a new life." Jack nodded, feeling a pang of sadness. "You'll be a good leader for them." Ilara took his hand, the familiar tingling sensation flowing between them. "I was hoping you might help me." "Me? I'm just a diplomatic officer. And probably not a very good one, considering I nearly started a war." "You saw injustice and stood against it," Ilara said. "That's exactly what my people need." She paused. "What I need." Jack looked into her silver eyes. "Are you sure? I'm not Lyrian. I can't glow or connect with technology." "But you connected." "With me," Ilara said. "That's rarer and more valuable than any ability." She leaned forward and kissed him again. This time there was no interruption, no alarm to cut the moment short. When they finally pulled apart, both were smiling. On the bridge of the horizon, Commander Fletcher watched them from a distance. Dr. Nicole Bennett stood beside him. "Do you think it could work?" Fletcher asked. "A human and a Lyrian?" Nicole smiled. "If there's one thing my research has taught me, it's that connection transcends species. They'll find a way." As more Lyrian ships arrived, Ilara's people looked. To her, the last royal, now the first of a new beginning. And beside her stood Jack, the human who had saved her with a single defiant act and a promise kept. The chains that had bound her were gone, broken by a choice, a rescue, and a kiss of defiance that had changed two worlds forever.